So, yes, yet another question from a LinkedIn comment exchange, which was kicked off by Georgia Hart, who is a principal recruitment consultant working for Endeavour, I think that's the correct pronunciation, in Australia. She uploaded a post on the topic of my thoughts on job hopping. At the end of the post, she said, "Yeah, maybe it's time to consider contracting." Cue my response. I was on the contract market from 1996 to 2011, and then also when I moved to Thailand up until 2019, and loved every minute of it. Almost. To which the reply was, what advice would you give to people who want to get into contracting? Well, could I resist? Yeah? No, I couldn't. So I asked if I could use this question for, yes, you guessed it, this YouTube channel. Let's start with a bit of context first, shall we? About how I fell, or was I pushed? I don't know, into contracting. I worked for a building society called Abbey National, which became Abbey, a bank, and was then taken over by Banco Santander. And that employment was between 1987 and 1996. In their wisdom, Abbey had a great habit, if you pardon the expression, get the Abbey habit was their strapline, yeah, of using many third-party consultants for various projects. One of these was my benchmarking work. I was actually Abbey's benchmarking manager. This really irked me because it seemed like I was doing all of the work and then this third-party lot came along, took over the reins, rebadged it to their own, and were paid handsomely for it. Well, a lot more than I was paid for it. So I thought, I could do that. As a first step, I set up my own company, Lehman Associates Limited, and outside of Abbey's time, started touting for business. This actually paid off quite quickly in that I managed to get a good level of interest in two potential benchmarking initiatives: surveying, house surveying that is, and current account opening. Unfortunately, the third-party consultants I mentioned earlier caught wind of this and complained to my boss. Anyway, to cut a long story short again, as Duran Duran sang, I resigned my commission, thinking that, yeah, no problem, my benchmarking work will come to fruition, basically. Ha! No chance. Clearly, the third-party consultants had put the boot in, and organisations started to pull out of these benchmarking initiatives, which kind of left things high and dry. The only other option I had was to put myself on the contract market as a business consultant with as many recruitment agencies as possible. After 6 weeks of biting my nails and getting all anxious and stuff like that, without work, an agency that I had used for contractors before, for Abbey that is, found me a job with Prudential. Great start for 6 months. And as the Hollies sang, and that's the way the whole thing started, silly but it's true. I haven't sung for a while, have I? Anyway, my contracting career came to an end in 2019 with a gig I did for Salesforce in Indonesia, having moved to Thailand in 2011. Since 2019, I've been a change management trainer. Want to be trained, do you, by me and on my successful driving change management course? Take a listen to video 55, but there is a change name. I did used to call it Fundamentals of Change Management, but now it's called Driving Change Management. Video 55, okay? Don't forget. Right. I suppose I better answer the question, hadn't I? Yeah. About time, I hear you say. This advice will be in no order of importance and from a change management perspective, although the advice can relate to other disciplines as well. Okay, so first of all, keep in touch with colleagues from previous companies and or roles, as they might have some insider information for you and point you in the direction of the internal hiring manager. I know that's kind of like, sort of getting around a recruiter, but I used to do that as part of my process. Don't apply for all the roles that you think are a close match. Okay, for what you do. Sorry, my rule of thumb was, if there was an 80% match, then I would go for it. Make sure you register your CV online with as many recruitment agencies, platforms as possible. But you've got to remember to keep it up to date and ensure that they have the correct keywords in them. Keep in touch with the recruitment agencies on a regular basis to see if there's anything up and coming that may suit you. They may have something in the pipeline which has not been confirmed, but be prepared. This is a good one, to deal with the wet behind the ears recruiters who haven't got a clue about what change management is. I remember getting the question, what exactly is change management, many times. Keep your LinkedIn profile completely up to date every time you change contracts, because the more you are involved in, the better chance there is of you getting your next gig. Some people don't like this, next one, but get your green looking for work badge on your LinkedIn profile picture. Then finally, be prepared for downtime, because contract jobs are difficult to secure and you will inevitably have breaks between contracts for which you won't get paid. Right, that's a few from me. There's probably many more, but I think those are the most important. But I thought, let's make this answer a little bit more interesting, shall we? Until I've asked a couple of my close connections on LinkedIn to contribute as well. And this is what I got. First of all, from my good mate, Mark Green, a change manager who was on the contract market for some while before going permanent. Turncoat Mark. Only joking. He says, if you're experienced in the CM world and looking to move into contracting, then it's all about networking, okay? And building relationships. LinkedIn has been particularly useful for me, not me, Mark, yeah. And he has got, he has, whatever, had 95% of his roles through this channel. And he still further says it's all about building your own personal reputation as you move along from client to client. Also, try and figure out what works for you. Are you just doing it for financial gain? Give me the money. Or is there an industry you'd really like to explore? Set yourself some specific goals. Secondly, he says, excuse me, if you're not experienced, then I'd say you need to be honest and mindful of that and build your own capability. Find people in the field who are experienced and watch, listen and discuss ideas with them. Be careful not to fall into the bad habits and repeating statistics that are unfounded or ideas that are no longer relevant. I think you're getting at the 70% there, aren't you, Mark? Try and build yourself a little list of respected peers. And again, network. That was Mark. Thank you, Mark. Great advice. The second one was from a good friend called John Bishop, who's been on the contract market for nearly as long as I have, probably longer now, actually, to be honest. He's a great process analyst, and I've worked with him a couple of times before on projects, yeah, for me. So What he says is, as a professional contractor for more than 20 years, I told you he'd been there on a long time, I found it's provided me with better earnings, greater flexibility and an improved work-life balance. Contracting enables you to experience different client working environments across different projects with the satisfaction of delivering and, in a majority of cases, getting repeat business. The advice I would share is develop a unique skill set. In John's case, he's a process analyst. Knowledge and experience where there is a continual demand in the market. In my example, this specialization has been in business process transformation and architecture and change management. John's been through my course, by the way. Maintain your professional development and learning in your field of specialism through training, like I said, webinars, events, etc. Build good relationships. Networking. Remember, Mark? With fellow contractors, either who you know today or on your first of many contract assignments, or via organised events, whichever. Build good and long-term client relationships through effective project delivery. Develop your marketing. The preferred channel here is LinkedIn, but obviously through recommendations and as part of your growing network as well. Assess what your skill set services will be worth, or what a client is prepared to pay you in terms of day rates. Be organised, trustworthy, professional, and most importantly, reliable. Do what you do when you say you were going to do it. Register with agencies, and align to your level of expertise, and shape your CV accordingly to client needs. Thank you, John. Hope you're doing okay. Are you starting to notice a trend here? Yeah? Well, let me go a bit further. We've all heard of ChatGPT, haven't we? So I thought it would be stupid of me not to ask ChatGPT to see what they had to say and see how it lined up with mine and the other two guys. They say, as a change manager looking to transition into the contract market, there are several steps you can take to make the process smoother and increase your chances of success. CV, yes, your CV or resume is your primary marketing tool as a contractor. You should tailor it to highlight your relevant skills and experience and showcase your achievements in previous roles. Make sure it clearly outlines your change management experience and the outcomes that you have delivered. Consider including details of the projects that you've worked on, the stakeholders that you've worked with, and the size of the teams you have managed. Having a strong professional network is crucial. Network again. It's crucial for contractors. It can help you find new opportunities, connect with potential clients, and keep up with industry trends. Attend events, connect with colleagues and peers, and engage in relevant online communities to build your network. There are, of course, different types of contracts available on the market, including fixed-term contracts, project-based contracts, and consultancy contracts. Decide on the type of contract that suits you and your skill set and lifestyle, and tailor your search accordingly. That's a good one. Do your research on potential clients and recruiters in your field. Make a list of target companies and recruiters and approach them with a targeted message. Also, take the time to understand the client's business, their industry, and their key challenges to help tailor your approach. Be open to new opportunities and flexible with your working arrangements. You may need to be flexible with your rate, your working hours, and even the location of the work. Then familiarize yourself with the legal and tax implications of contracting. Very important. You may need to set up a limited company, as I had to do, register for VAT, and file your own taxes. It was a real pain, to be honest. Seek professional advice from an accountant, which I did, or a lawyer to ensure you are compliant with all regulations and are taking advantage of all tax and expense allowances. Right, thank you GPT, and interesting reply. I thought it was anyway. All these replies say mostly the same thing, which is good to know as it makes this whole video representative. I hope this has given you some food for thought, and if you are looking to get onto the contract market, then I wish you good luck. Slightly long video, but I think there was some important messages to get across for those of you that want to get into contracting. Thank you very much for listening. Cheers. See you next time.